Welcome to Trading Lounge and the daily US stocks for Monday, September the 12th. The stocks are telling me, this is the S&P here of course, the stocks are telling me that we've got this pattern here where we've got this A wave up here and then coming down for an A and a B and a C wave for the B wave. So an A and a B and a C for the bigger B and then coming down into the sort of 3,000 sort of area. Of course I can be wrong, so where can I be wrong and what counts would they be? Well, the first thing is that this wave B here could be over here for that. There's a case for that. So that means that this move down here would be the A wave here, the wave 1, and then we would look for wave 2 at that point, and then we would be looking down further, coming down here for wave 3 that would take us further down than, take us all the way down here. So as I mentioned last week, our aim is really to look for short trades up here, but we also need to be a little bit careful as well. I don't think it's the case, but the stocks aren't telling me that, but just to put a spanner in the works, it's possible to look at this as an A wave here and then a B wave here and then a C wave up here. So coming from the low here and calling this in as the low and looking at this as an A wave, a B wave and a C wave here. So another dog leg in that. I don't think that's the case, but it's just worth mentioning. So just go back over that. So the stocks that we're looking at, the general consensus would be that we've got the A wave, the B wave, and down for the C wave to make the B, then up for the C, and then down again at that point. Now, it's complicated and it's a long way away, but that's the pathway that we've been talking about for quite some time. And any mistakes can be that this would be wave 1 down here and then coming back for wave 2 and going down. So we plan to short here anyway. And the other little thing here is this move up here can be 5 waves up for wave A, then a B wave and then a C wave at that point. So we'll just need to be a little bit mindful of that. But we'll talk more about the S&P when we go to the indices video. So with Apple here, we're looking for the A wave, the B wave and the C wave here for the B wave, and then up for the C and then down again. And I've got this as wave 1 here and then 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, but realistically it could also be counted as an A wave to here, a B wave to here, or an A wave to here, B wave to here. And because we've got a slight overlap there, so we'd have to put it here, but it could be counted as an A and a B and a C wave down here as well. But that it's not really going to change anything at this particular point in time. It does count quite nicely as 5 waves up through here. So could that be a low in place? And we've got this up here as wave 1 and back for wave 2 and moving up here, continuing to move up. Somebody asked the good question, can a low be in place and can we make new highs? And I thought to myself, well, there are stocks that can present that case, and one of them is Apple, another one is Tesla, another one is Amazon. So it's a possible thing, but it doesn't give me a consensus across most other stocks. Okay, so stocks like the SP 500, this move up here is corrective. Very clear on stocks like Microsoft and so on. So the general consensus sort of brings me back to an A, B, C here for the B wave, the C wave, and down through this area through here. Now, Apple has been one that's moved up quite nicely up here, but this time around, this move up here, yes, it has moved up, but it hasn't moved up as far as the other markets, so it's sort of a little bit lagging. And we can also put wave A in different places through here as well, but it hasn't moved up that much. And I never really found out the reason that the market moved up that strongly, but we do know that You know, we've had lower CPI figures over the last couple of months. So the September CPI figures that may even come for July may come. I'm not sure when they come out. Is it next Thursday? This Thursday, is it? I mean, that's going to be a bit of a important event to get 3 lower CPI figures. So we'll just keep that in mind as well. But you know, I mean, the move up could have just been based on the full moon. Who knows? And we've got the equinox coming up on the 22nd, I think it is, this month. I'm not quite sure. I have to double check that as well. But quite often the full moon, you'll see, you know, certain markets, you know, the metals and the meat markets and things pushed to the upside, you know. So obviously the moon does affect us being on the planet and many things on the planet. So maybe it's just the full moon. Anyway, let's just go in. I've got a bearish count here, but the bearish count here is just really down for 1 and back for 2 here, and then coming down for wave 3. So we don't really need to go there. We just really need to understand this here and look for a short trade. Probably any short trade would probably be later on the Monday afternoon, or the sort of Tuesday. I'd say there's a little bit more to go to the upside. So we're just going to go to 1,000 and then 100 here. So yeah, okay, this is where we were, just tuning back in a bit. So we haven't really, you know, we're not really reaching back up to this area up through here for this, you know. So we've got this as wave A here with an A, B and a C wave here. Could this get any larger, and how would it get any larger? Well, I would imagine if it was, because that's pretty much 5 waves there already. You can see that strong third wave in the middle, and we'll look at that in a moment. But just to shoot the breeze a little bit, we could end up with something like this, moving up higher here for that. You know, that's also possible as well. But yeah, most of the other stocks have moved up quite nicely, and they've sort of come quite close to reaching where they need to go to. So maybe we're just coming up here a little bit further, but let's just go in and have a little bit of a look at this first. It's hard for markets to leave large numbers, you know. They're like magnets. So with this one here, let's just bring in a little bit more data. So we have the A wave over here, so an ABC for the A wave, the B wave and the C wave here. So just looking at this structure here, if you were looking to short it, looking at oh, I could use that as wave 1 too, couldn't I? Won't make much difference. Even if I use that as wave 1, I'd end up putting wave 1 over here for that. So it's not a big deal for that. But I'll double check on some other platforms. But still, whichever way you want to look at this, it still leaves us with this strong third wave in the middle here, right? So looking at this here is probably wave 1 and 2 here. Excuse me. So I can see we got further to move up. Now, what we always call A to profit taking number, so we're going to see that come in. I mean, I think what we're going to see is that we could probably view this as strong volume, you know, coming into the market. So we could use that as strong volume coming in. But on the Monday, yes, the market will go up, but I don't think it's going to give us as much volume next time, you know. So what we're going to see is an up market, the price up, but on lower volume. So we'll have that divergence there. So that will be toppy at this point. So this is where you can look for short trades. You know, I always like to confirm things. I like to see a nice 5-wave structure to the downside first, and that can come in different ways. You know, it might be something sort of quite large like this here, or it could be just that first wave here, and then I'll go to this point. You know, I'll get on the turn at that point. If I see 5 waves here, then like a 5-wave structure like that pointing down, well, then I'd be shorting the upside down, but shorting the reaction. Or here, like this here, if I saw 5 waves here, for example, well, then I'd be looking to short the top there or short the low, wherever I can get in at that point, you know. So that's what we need to be looking for there for Apple. But let's just continue across a little bit. So we see NVDA here, that's moved up quite nicely with all of this, and looking at this slightly, this is a slightly different market pattern that this one's following. It's more of a bearish pattern coming down all down through here. So it's a little, I mean, it's the same but different. So still, we've got wave 1 and 2, 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5 for the third wave. So we've still got one more little move to go up to the top here. Now, how far will that go? I don't know. I mean, normally we'd just look at, because the extension's in wave 3 here, we'd look at the length of wave 1 and, you know, pin that over here somewhere. But obviously the 150's got, you know, is going to be the resistance here. So, you know, you can do things like use the levels in a lot of cases as well. So just trying to get that on 150 that's been there for a while. They don't want to move. So if this market, for example, came up and hit the 150 here, right, then I would be using group 2 here, so as the resistance. So if the lower end of group 2, which is 146.50, became the retested resistance after the market had been up here, well, then I'd be trying to get one short position in there. I'd be looking at the next level, which will be the 145, the midpoint. So I would be, once that became the resistance, I'd be looking to get something on that side of it. And so on, you know, and then I'll be looking at the 140, so I could probably get one under 143, then I'll want to get one under 140, kind of build it like that, you know. But we'll just see how that plays out. So tomorrow we can look for short trades, but you might be able to get some small positions in on on viewing some weakness in the afternoon session, sort of any turns down, you know. So Amazon here, so we're looking for the A wave here, the A, the B and the C wave here. It could be wave 2 here. We could come down stronger here, so shorting in the box here would be at least getting one contract in there, I guess, whatever one, you know, whatever you call them, one stock, share, equity, and then look for obviously the 130. If that became the retested resistance, then you could add to that. It's not going to be at the 130. You know, it will be at sort of one. You can also use 128 and all of the other smaller levels in there. But yeah, the thing is that if I've got this, you know, I'm thinking the A, the B and the C here for this, and this leg here could be roughly the same as this leg, pinch of salt. And but if I'm wrong, then this will be a wave 3 coming down here. And September is known for its, out of all the months, September is known for its, well, technically for its bear day. Most people think it's October, but September. And yeah, so that's why I think it's kind of okay to be, you know, look for a short trade at that point. But let's go in and have a look at, I think, on 1,100. This is not really showing me much here, but this gap over here I think is a nice little target. Once we top out here, I think this is a third wave, because not always, but most of the time you'll get gaps in the third wave in a natural way, you know. So you'll get gaps like here because you know, for some other reason. But in third waves, we normally get that little gap in there, you know. So we could, that's been covered, so it looks like it likes covering it, so that could be a bit of a target there. So imagine this, we look at this as 1 and 2 here in the third wave up. So we've still got 4th and 5th here to go, I think, but let's just go to the 100 ticks and get a closer view on that. Okay, I've counted a bit differently on this one, so just didn't get my 5 waves because this is in 3 waves here for that, you know, and I got a slight overlap here. So I could have this wrong, but I've got it as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 up here, so topping here. Because we're in group 1 here, if the 132, the number 2 within group 1, so I mean the 130 here, 110, 120 and 130 is minor group 1, and then up here this 1, 2 and 3 is subgroup 1. So if the market's been trading up here somewhere and it comes back and it finds the number 2 here as a retested resistance, then I always like to get a short position at that point and then look to add under at this stage over here. And if I do get a short position under the 2 here, I would only exit that if the 33 became the tested support at that point. And the tested support needs a classic trading levels pattern, so it would be something like this here. So if I was short down here somewhere, I would wait for this to become the support. Now it's okay saying that, but what does that actually mean? And it means different things to different people, but to me it means that a classic trading levels pattern where we have the arrival, the reaction, first high above the level, and so then I'll put my stop above that first high there. So I have to wait for that, because what I'm doing is I'm waiting to see if the closest largest number here is going to become the support, because if it's going to become the support, well then the market's going to go up from that, but it may not become the support. So that's just the chances that you take, you know. So I wait for the first high above the level, and then I wait for the second high above the level, and then I don't know it's that until it comes down, you know, give it a bit of time, and then bring it down to this point, and then in this case, you know, I've done the right thing with the stop. I've gone through my process. I could have been kicked out of it, you know, but that's how I would do it. So I would be looking, if I shorted over here, I would only have a stop on top of the 33 if I got something like this here. That's how I would work that stop. A mistake that I could be making here is having all of this as wave 1 here and 2 over here for that, and then having all of this here as wave 3. I mean, there's a pretty good case for that, because this is all of not such a nice wave 3 here. Do you know what I mean? It looks like a third wave rather than a what's the name? So you're just going to have to be a little bit careful. So if this was a fourth wave here, it would come back to the fourth wave of 1 lesser degree. So you'd have to be careful about what you're calling that as the resistance at that point. You know, you'd need to be know what you're doing at that point. So yeah, so we're not in our box yet, so this could be counted differently. I just couldn't get 5 waves out of that, so I couldn't really justify it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it can, you know, move down from here. Just keep an eye on that. And meta platforms here, so I had to rearrange this particular pattern at the bottom here, so still wave 3 here, but an A wave here, an A, B, C here for the B wave, and then counting 5 waves up here. Now once again, it looks like we've got a nice third wave here, so we're still going to get the 4th and the 5th coming up here. This is a little bit small for the 4th at the moment. I can see it though as 1, 2 here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the 3rd, 4th here. So there should be something, you know, there should be something like that. So there's still a bit more to be had to the upside. So somewhere up at the 172 to 175 before we see a turn there, but everything looks pretty good at that point. Netflix, I've also rearranged this as well, just to bring it in line with the other markets. And looking at wave A here, I could put wave A here as well, but yeah, there's a couple of ways we could look at that. An ABC for the A wave, an ABC for the B wave, and looking for 5 waves up here. So we could look at all of this as wave 1 and 2 here, or 2 to here, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the longer shot here would be looking at this playing out like this, and then coming down for 1 and 2 here, and then coming down. So like I said, we've just got to give these tops a little bit of space. I mean, technically with this particular one here, if the 230 became the retested resistance like this, and look for the first low below the level, then look for the short, then the short over here, that would see you pretty well straight at that point. So Might be able to identify the first 5 waves down as well. If it's going to be up here, it's going to be bouncing off that. It's going to bounce off that 230. So you might be able to look for that. But otherwise, a classic trading levels pattern under this level here, once it becomes the resistance I just mentioned, would be the good way to go. And N phase here in a bullish trend. So a bit of a short wave here. I was wondering, you know, I mean, it does look like 5 waves here and 3 waves there. So I think we're sort of okay with this. I wonder if we could look at that as wave 4 and that as wave 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, but now we've got overlap there. Let's just go in and have a little look at that move on the downside. Well, there's a pretty clear 5 wave move to the downside here for this. So we'll probably see some sort of rally back into supply or the 61.8% and then another move down at that point. But either way, you know, this is a bit of a classic trading levels pattern where we've got the arrival, the reaction, the first high above the level, and now we want to see a correction over here for that. So just going back to that daily chart here, give me another look at this. I mean, normally, yeah, this is quite complicated. I mean, it's quite complicated for wave 2. And the reason I say it's, I mean, it's pretty simple as a 3-wave move, but it took a long time compared to the time it took this. So I would call that complicated. So we might get something simple here. But we don't have a trade set up at this point. I mean, normally what you do is you trade to this point here, you get out and you use your money in some, you know, make good use of your money somewhere else, and then you wait for the, you know, the normal thing here, the arrival, the reaction, the first high above the level. So we're basically here, we're in this little move here, so we still need this to come down, and then we still need to get support over here, and then we also need to watch out if this, how complicated this is going to get, you know. So, you know, all these corrections have taken a reasonable amount of time. So we'll see. I mean, even if that pushes higher here, I'm sure it's going to come back again as well. So I think it's going to stick here a bit longer. It's just going through the process. And Tesla, yeah, so we're looking at wave A and B here, and 1 and 2, and then on Friday we counted 5 waves up here, and then we've got 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5. So we've got a little bit more to go up here for this before we see that further wave 1 and 2 here. So that's what we'll be looking for. So yeah, and then down at that point. I mean, this little move here is corrective. Yeah, it just feels like it wants to, you know, this looks like a classic trading levels pattern here. It looks like it wants to go up further. So I was looking at that here on the 1,000 tick chart, I think it was. It's one of these stocks that, you know, when somebody asks me, can the market go up further here, well, then I can look at this as an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave here. And then I could look at this as wave 1 and 2 here. I could build up here. This looks like a 4th wave correction to me with new highs to be made here. But then I thought to myself, well, can we look at it as an A wave, a B wave, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the C, even if it does make a new high here? You know, can we look at it like that? So yeah, I mean, can we look at it as 1 and 2 here? Yeah, all of that. I mean, there is a bullish case for this, you know, and if the rest of the market was bullish, I would be labeling it as a bullish thing, but the rest of the market's not doing that, so it makes it a little bit difficult to do that. Alphabets here, so just on the low here, if you've been tracking this, so we've got wave A here, and then I've got an A wave, a B wave, and then a C wave here. I think this all looks pretty good to me in terms of 1 and 2 here, 1, 2, little gap in the 3rd waves here, the full moon stuff. And yeah, it's probably still more to go up here, but like I said, it started off strong and then it's sort of, you know, it's sort of creeping to the upside. So I think Monday's going to be a little bit more like that as well. Yes, it can pop up, but I think it's going to fade and come back down. So, you know, we could pretty much use this 10 here as the retested resistance for any short trade at this point, you know. So wait for that first low below the level and then the kickback on that. And then that leaves that low exposed at that point. It's a safe way of doing it, but there we go. Oops, a daisy. And what have we got here? Microsoft. So, yeah, okay, so sorry, just getting my bearings, thinking of the bigger picture, but yeah, probably an ABC for the A wave here, the B wave, and then 5 waves up for the C wave, and I suppose you could get 5 waves out of this in terms of 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 in here, and then that, if that was the case, then but it still's not giving me. And I'd have to put this over to here and call that, like this is what we've done with most of the markets, we've put wave A here. I'll just put it there for the time being. We'll just draw out another scenario which would leave this here as wave A up here, B wave here, because it didn't really give us a night, it didn't finish off properly here in 5 waves. So that would give us 5 waves up here. So we could be looking at this as a 3rd wave up here, a 4th wave, and then a 5th wave coming into play. So we'll need to be a bit careful about that. We'll just keep an eye on that. We'll see how it all looks tomorrow, okay? So after the next, not tomorrow, the next session. Berkshire Hathaway here, so you know, I'm pretty comfortable with this move here as the A wave, B wave, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here for this, and looking for this. It's still got higher to go up here, so we could look at this here as 1 and 2 here, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we'll have a 3rd wave, so we can have the market can pull back to this low, previous low here. So just be a bit mindful of that. So back here and then pushing up into the 290 to 293 area there before it's topping out. So hopefully in terms of timing with a lot of these, we'll see this top come in and then we'll also see the turn to come down, and hopefully we could see an impulse wave coming down. So that impulse wave we can allow to come down, and then we can look to short the retest of that. So I think Tuesday might be good timing for all of this. With block here, I was looking at it in 2 ways, this rally here, either 38.2% for wave 4, or looking at all of this here, probably here as an A and a B and a C wave up here for wave B up here. Or wave 2. If it's wave 2, then we'll come down here further, but otherwise we're stuck in this. You know, this is another stock. This is, you know, like this is the typical, this is the most typical thing I see across the markets, where this move come down here and this overlap wave, if you're going to call that wave 1 here. You know, the only other way to look at all of this is wave 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 here, and building up into a bullish market. So that's possible with the S&P as wave 1 and 2 and 1 and 2. But yeah, it just the weakness of it all, you know, and Microsoft is the same. It's come down, it's overlapped these previous tops here. So it just forces this to be a corrective pattern, you know. So the trick is that you know, the move that we've got down, you know, I mean, you can see here, this would be, you know, you don't really recognize these things until they're done and dusted. You know, you've got your A wave here, and then your B wave in 3 waves, and then the move up. I mean, it's very much like this one here, really. So this move here coming up to here would be this move here, right? And then this move down here, see, it's in 3 waves here. So this one here, the rest of the market would be down in 3 waves here, you know, dropping a bit low here but staying above here. In fact, the B wave can take this low out here, but generally speaking, this this move coming down here would be this one, and then that move up there, and that would be that move up there, and then we come down for the last leg over here. You know, that's what I'm sort of thinking with all of this. So it is it is a bit complicated, and it does create short trends, and there is a fair bit of doubt in all of that too. I mean, how do you have confidence in that? You know, you can all you can do is just sort of, you know, pick up the pieces and, you know, piece them together the best you can, you know, and look for short-term opportunities. It's not like we're in a, you know, in a trend. You know, we could possibly have this as wave 2 here and go down for wave 3. You know, that's why we will be looking for short trades, you know. But let's just see how far this goes. I've got a feeling it's going to push up a little bit higher, and we'll have to call it a B wave, and that will be fine, and that will leave that as an ABC down to here, or even down to here, and we'll have to look at this as an A wave here and a B wave here and so on. But we'll get to that. And so the banks, so they're all a little bit, I've just labelled them a little bit differently. I think I've got Morgan's the same JP like this, but wave A here with an A and a B and a C wave up here. So yeah, so that looks good. I haven't really counted any of this here for Goldman's, but we'll look at that a bit closer with that top there. With JP here, we've also got the A, the B here, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. So I think there's a little bit more to go in all of this. So I can see this as 1 and 2 here, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. So this is wave 1 and 2. This is wave 3 here and wave 4 here. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're not quite at the third wave yet. We still need the third, the fourth, and the fifth here. So that's going to kind of wrap up that Monday sesh. And yeah, and then we'll see what it looks like. We need to sort of get something over here that's going to give us that 5 waves. I think I've counted this a little bit differently over, just to give me a bit of perspective on things. How have I count? Oh, okay, right. Well, Goldman's was the same. Goldman's took out this low down here for this. So I don't think this one has taken out the low, but Goldman's did. So I've had this as an A and a B here, and then 1 and 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. So probably, that's just a B wave. No, that's there. So 1, 2, 3. So I still need this over here for that. I still need that. And that, and we should just realistically label this a little bit. So there will be some sort of A, B, and C here. So don't go shorting too quick on the Monday just because you see weakness. You know, I think we still need to get through this. The banks are always a pretty good thing of what we need to do. Could I have made a mistake and wave 4 goes there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, I think we're good like this. I mean, the end of the session becomes a bit dodgy, and the beginning of the session is a bit spiky. But yeah, so some sort of further consolidation and spikiness in here, and then another push up, which could be the length of this wave 1 here. I suppose we could look at that as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for 1 and 2, and so that could be a top there. Let me just have a little closer look in here. Sorry to chuck a spanner in the works, but if something pops out at me, I've got to look at it. Yeah, it's possible, you know. Just have a look at the other guys in a minute. Yeah, so we could have a top there. So that means that if it was counted like this, couldn't short it until we get below there, which is a long way off. I think Monday will hold up fairly well. Let's just see what it looks like. Let's look for short trades on Tuesday, because I kind of want to make it sort of, I want it clear that we've actually got some impulse wave down, and then there'll be some sort of rally, and it will leave that low exposed. That's what we're looking for. So yeah, let's just, because the momentum, everybody's, the momentum is going to be, the bullish weekly cycle. When you're seeing a strong move like this, then we can see it's been slowing down as well, generally speaking. So it'll slow further. Okay. It's just the US dollar index. Just trying to work out if we've got a top in there or not, but that's another story. Alrighty, thanks for tuning in. Cheers.